super happy to have Brian Harris and Cody Duncan here from Growth Tools here to present how to build your $100,000 newsletter in 2025. Brian is an expert. He's a great presenter, and Cody's his partner in crime over there. Super excited to have you guys here. Thank you so much for taking your time to speak with our audience. You guys know your way around. You guys did a great job working the crowd last time. So I don't need to say too much more. You guys got the chat down. I'm going to hand it over to you guys. I'm probably going to go off camera, let them run the show, and maybe jump in if there's something I hear that's like super jogs my mind or something like that. But other than that, thanks so much for coming today.
Thanks for hosting. Looking forward to hanging for the next hour. Some of y'all we hung out with a couple months ago when we taught y'all our marketing model. Today, we're going to teach you our product model. How do you actually generate revenue? And we'll touch on the marketing model a little bit because that usually connects to each other. But all right, so let's jump in. Title of the webinar today, the training today, is how to build your $100,000 newsletter in 2025. And I'm going to share with y'all probably a very different approach to generating revenue from your newsletter than you've ever heard before. And there's some pros to it. There's some cons to it. Some of the pros to it are you just don't need a big list at all. Jack, with a list of 1,000, you can make $100,000 this year. The typical approaches of create big products and run launches or find a bunch of sponsors or create a low ticket membership, all those require, by definition, substantially more subscribers, usually in the high tens or even hundreds of thousands of subscribers to be profitable. And you don't. I'm looking forward to sharing some of the things we've learned over the years from growing a big newsletter. We've subscribed well over 1 million people to our newsletter over the years, have over 100,000 active subscribers today, over a decade later. So we've tried so many things, most of which did not work all that well, some of which actually did work decently. So I'll start with a story. When I first started my newsletter, it took a year to get to 100 subscribers, a year. And I'll actually share towards the end my biggest breakthrough in list growth, because I think that's something you'll be interested in as well. But I want to stay focused on monetization for now. When I started my newsletter, I had 100 people, and I was like, all right, the hard part will be creating a great product. So I made a $30 course, low ticket course, started selling it to the newsletter and everybody I could find. And I'm running the math because my goal in my very first year was to generate $100,000 in sales so my wife could come home from work and we could start a family. Fast forward 11 years, when I have 3 kids, the business worked somehow. We're still around. And we have 3 kids, 9, 7, and 5. And they're all home from school today because it snowed. And in Nashville, if it dusts, everybody's off. So we even got a text just now that they're off tomorrow as well. After being off Friday and Monday for President's Day. I didn't even know we like presidents around here. And apparently we get 2 days on holiday. At any rate, goal in first year was $100,000 in sales. And I'm running the math. I have a $30 product and I need $100,000 in sales. That rounded up, that equals, I needed to sell 4,000 units of my course in the year in order to hit my goal. 4,000 across the whole year. So I hustle. I'm trying every marketing strategy I can and I'm moving some units here and there. But after trying really hard for a year, I'd sold 30 units. I needed 4,000. So I was a long ways away from the goal. And then, and I'm doing all the things everybody says to do, focus on list growth, focus on launches, focus on all that stuff. And then one day I get an email, and this is the email. This is a screenshot of the email. And it was an email from a guy named Noah. And quick pause. I have a massive toothache. Like, it is driving me insane. So if I touch my mouth or something, I got to go to the dentist tomorrow morning. I don't know what's going on here, but it is like radiating pain through my whole head. Put a tooth in chat if you had a toothache recently. I forget how annoying they are until you get one. It's, man, this is disorienting. Anyway, all right, I get this email from Noah. I need to sell 4,000 units of my $30 course, low ticket product. And then I get an email from Noah, a guy who runs a site called AppSumo and OKDort. And he was selling not a low ticket $30 product. He was selling a first high ticket product I'd ever seen. It was one of those just like mind expanding, mind blowing moments where I'm like, I don't even know what to do with that. That's so otherly that I don't even have context for that thing. But I like it. So Noah was selling his particular product was a 1-hour phone call with him for $1,000, which seemed utterly absurd. Like, what human on earth would pay $1,000 to talk to another human for an hour? But I start running the math and I'm like, okay, what if I sold a high ticket product? I need 4,000 people to find me, trust me, know me, like me, be interested and buy my thing in order to hit my goal. But what if I went really high ticket? What if I sold a $10,000 product? I don't know what it would be. So I'll assume I can figure that out. And I'm going to teach y'all what that can be for y'all in a bit. But what if I sold a $10,000 product? Then I only need to find 10 total humans. I can count that on my hands. 10 humans to hit my goal of $100,000. Noah's email was that major aha moment for me where I went from trying to sell a whole lot of a low ticket thing to what if I just got a handful of people to pay me a whole lot of money? And it worked exceptionally well. Over the next year, I generated $100,000 in revenue. My wife came home and started her family, and now the whole big happy crew of us are home on a snow day today. All because that day, Noah sent an email promoting a high ticket product. And I was like, I think I might be able to do that. So today I want to walk you through what I discovered that day, which is there are two distinct ways to monetize your email list, two distinct product models for your business. Product model number one, which is by far the most popular, especially in email list world, newsletter world, which is charge a little bit of money via sponsorships or memberships or something like that. Get a whole bunch of subscribers. You get to be amazing and collect not just I needed 4,000 people. You need 100,000, 500,000, 1 million people in order for sponsorship or something like that to be meaningful at all. The effort level is through the roof. And also the transformation level is pretty low. Now, how many people are transformed by reading a newsletter and seeing a sponsorship? Not many. This is the mile wide and the inch deep product model. Like you're selling a low ticket membership or a low ticket course, you're getting sponsorships or something like that. And like you're making money, but like how many lives are actually impact from that? Not much, because the level of depth you're able to go to in a relationship with them is just not much at all. That day that Noah sent that email, in that year that I was like, let me just try crazy high ticket and see what happens. And it worked. I discovered there was a second business model. Instead of charging just a little bit of money to a whole lot of people or to a sponsorship or something and having to do all that sales effort and outreach effort and all that stuff and effort to generate the subscribers, the high ticket business model, the high ticket monetization model is fundamentally different. Instead of charging a little bit to a whole lot, you charge just a tiny little bit to just a handful of people. So if your goal this year is $100,000 in sales, you only need 10 humans to hire you at a high ticket coaching model, consulting model. Or let's say your goal is $1 million this year. You only need 100 total humans, 100. And it is substantially easier to get 100 people to pay you 10 grand than it is to get 4,000 people to pay you 30 grand. Substantially easier to get 10 people to pay you 10 grand than it is 4,000 people to pay you 30. It's really hard. Much lower effort because you don't need as many subscribers. You don't need as many customers. And the people you work with, the level of depth of relationship you get to go, it's an inch wide and a mile deep. And you're able to actually impact lives. Like the level of relationship, the amount of time you spend with those people, those 10 people at 10 grand or 100 people at 10 grand, man, you can actually impact them. Like you can do something. Their life is measurably different. So I love in my business and when I teach to tie any fundamental principle. And by the way, your product model, how you monetize your newsletter is one of the most fundamental things that exists in your company. The next most fundamental is what is your marketing model? And we'll touch on that at the very end. And reference BOPA earlier. I'll tell you what that is and how it works and how these two things really tie together. So if you become compelled to have a high ticket offer, your next question is, how do I get people to hire me? And that's where BOPA comes in. So we'll touch on that at the end a little bit. So the cool thing about a high ticket model, you don't go a mile wide and an inch deep and never hit the transformation line. You never hit the point of somebody's life being changed. With high ticket, you're able to go super deep. So in our business, I love tying every fundamental thing back to scripture. Now, whether you're a Bible person or not is completely irrelevant. But inside of that book are the most viral ideas in human history. And it's the best-selling book of all time. So with the very idea, your marketing geek brain should be like zoned in on what did they do to get their thing to work? Like, why did it work so well? You don't have to believe it, but you might want to study it. Just like we do Marcus Aurelius or any of these like Stoic people. We study them to see what they did because they did some cool stuff. So let's understand what they did and maybe we could apply it to ourselves. Here's what's wildly fascinating. Jesus's product model, the way he produced transformation was not what a lot of mega churches do these days, which is let's get 50,000 people in the arena and play a 30-minute YouTube sermon. And then you go home and you wonder why like no lives were changed and people didn't transform and there are a bunch of hypocrites everywhere, right? That's not what he did. What he did, he spent 3 years with 12 dudes, 3 years with 12 dudes and really spent most of the time with 3 of those people. And as a result of that, those 12 people carried that message to the entire world. So he didn't go low ticket. He didn't go fill the arena with 50,000 people, talk to them for 30 minutes and peace out. Like the Sermon on the Mount was a blip on the radar. What he did every day was walk and talk and train those 12 guys. And those 12 guys took that message to the actual ends of the earth. So 2 fundamental ways to monetize your newsletter. Product models. 1, low ticket. Generate hundreds of thousands of subscribers, sell a super low ticket thing, work your butt off nonstop to sell it, and to get subscribers. And if you don't, you lose. Or high ticket model. Charge a whole lot of money to a handful of people and actually impact lives in the process. What my goal today on this training is to give you clarity to your product model. Like how are you going to generate money in your business? And there, by the way, either of these paths work. There's not one that's right, one that's wrong. I'm going to present a case for the high ticket model because most of you like me, until I got that email that day from Noah, had never really heard of it ever because it's not talked about much at all, especially in the newsletter world. By the end today, I want you to have clarity on if the high ticket coaching model is for you or not for you. Do you want to continue down the low ticket path, or do you have clarity and conviction that the high ticket route is the route you should go? So I'm going to ask you at the end to share like which way you leaning. Are you leaning towards high or are you leaning towards low? And I'm curious right now, where are you at? Like, where are you at as we start the training now? Are you leaning in towards the high ticket route, or are you leaning in towards the low ticket route? Which one is convicting and compelling, or are you being drawn to as we start? Luis said, is there a middle ground here between low ticket and high ticket? Not that high ticket is wrong, but maybe hard to launch with. Actually, it's substantially easier to launch with. I'm going to give you some hopefully some compelling arguments as we go as to why that's the case. Because it seems like it would be easier if you have a tiny list to get 100 people to buy a $10,000 thing versus 100 people to pay $100, but it's way easier to find one person at 10K than 100 people at $100. And the revenue up here is just way more. All right, so we got high, Jenny high, very aware of high ticket model, and that's why I do it myself, but I would like to hear how to find clients willing to pay. Good. All right, so key number 4, we're going to go through 4 keys here in a minute. Key number 4 is the one we want to pay attention to. Yes. What if coaching is just not for you? Yeah. Do not do coaching if you don't want to coach. Very sure. Now you can do consulting, which is similar, but less relationally involved and has similar impact. Or you could apply this to an agency model and a done for you model, depending on your industry. Leaning towards low, but I hear you on high. Good, Lauren. So at the end, I want to hear where you're at. I have low ticket, but want to add high. Good. All right. So a lot of people are super interested in high. Most of y'all leaning towards high at the start.
Lewis had a question here. He says, is there a middle ground here between low ticket and high ticket? Not that high ticket is wrong, but maybe hard to launch with it.
Yeah, I just answered him.
Okay, I was listening. How did I miss you answering?
By the way, I forgot to actually introduce Cody. I think EJ did in the beginning. To the left of me is Cody. Cody actually, especially Yasmin and any of y'all interested on, okay, you have picking your product, then you have selling the product. And we're going to go over the product model first, and then key number 4, we're going to talk about how to sell it. Cody actually runs the marketing channel that we use to sell our high ticket product. Okay, so we bring in well over $100,000 usually every month in new high ticket clients, including the people that repeatedly pay us every month to coach them. And Cody runs that channel. So he's the expert on our team at acquiring high ticket clients. So he'll chime in when we get there and throughout as we go, but he's there to help with that specific thing. Okay, one quick note at the end, about 44 minutes from now, we're going to end right on time. I'm going to give you 3 different resources, one of which is a high ticket offer template. It's a template with 3 examples of high ticket offers. So if you're like, I don't know what my offer would be, I'm going to give you a complete framework that'll help you see other people's high ticket offers and help create your own. So if that's a question as you go, stay tuned. We're also going to give you the how to get $10,000 clients marketing system, like the actual step-by-step, our particular marketing channel we use. It's not ads. You don't have to produce content. There's no DMs, none of that crap. It's a really cool method called BOPA. I'll teach you in key number 4 about it, but stay to the end to get those 2 resources plus one other bonus one as we get towards the end. Okay, before we jump into the weeds, we have a tradition at Growth Tools. If y'all came to the first webinar, first training, you'll notice it. We're going to do it again. So I hate wasted meetings. I hate meetings that don't have a point, don't have a goal, that you end and like, I don't even know what we did. And the last thing I want this to be is that. So I want to calibrate us in the beginning here with the purpose of this. The purpose isn't to learn things, by the way. The purpose of this is to increase your chance of hitting your big goal this year by giving you an intentional product model that actually increases your chance of success. Okay. So I want to know in chat right now, take 5 seconds, type your answer, hit enter. What is your big, hairy, audacious revenue goal for 2025? What's the number? And why? Luis, the name of the company is Growth Tools at the bottom of the slide. Down there. What's your big, hairy, audacious goal for 2025? And why? What would that make possible in your life as a result? So while you think about that and type, I want at least 5 of you to answer before we move on. Why you type that, the reason I'm asking that is if by the end of this training, you're convicted that high ticket increases your chance of success of doing it and it sounds fun to you, go do it. Or if by the end of this, you're convicted like high ticket's cool, I don't want to do it, go do low ticket. I want you to have clarity in which path, and intentionally pick one, which path gives you the best chance of actually hitting your goal. Okay. So that's the goal for today. My whole business is 160K. That's 16 clients, by the way. These 16 total humans over the next 11 months. 500K, that's 50 clients, Taryn. Lauren, 500K, 50 clients. Barbara, 100K would be great. That's 10 total humans over 11 months, less than 1 a month, to hire you with your high ticket offer in order to hit it. Yasmin, 500K, 50 clients. Good. All these are possible. This is super doable. Even if you're starting from scratch, like you can accomplish that. So question number 1 is that. Goal of the meeting, give you clarity on which route you need to go to do that. And by the end, you need to be convicted of the one you need to do. All right. Second thing we do. This might be a little weird for some of y'all. That's okay. It'll be a good exercise. It's called Clear the Fear. What brain science has shown us is that your creativity level is inversely proportionate to your fear level. If your fear is overwhelming, the doubt, the anxiety, the imposter syndrome thing, all that is really high, then your creativity by definition will be low. Those two centers of the brain cannot be on at the same time. So as you right now ponder maybe a different path to hit your goals than you've considered before, you got to have the creativity on to make a good sound decision. You don't want to make a decision out of fear. You don't want to be covered up in doubt and imposter syndrome, as I trained today. And over the rest of the day, as you maybe make some decisions on which way you want to go. And in general, as you go through your year, the more hours you're in fear and doubt and anxiety mode, the less likely you are to hit your goal, because your problem solving ability will just be lower. So I'm going to give you an exercise that takes 60 seconds to do. We're going to do it right now together as a way of kind of training you on it. And then we're going to get on to the tactical part of high ticket offers. Does that sound good, everybody? Let me get 3 yeses in chat and we'll move on. Let's get 3 yeses of people that are ready to go. Yes, Kevin. Yes, Joseph. Yes, Eve. Okay, good. Okay, here's how it goes. I'm going to do this in a prayer format. You can meditate, you can pray, be quiet, whatever works for you. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah, I'll just do it and you can follow here. God, we ask right now that you would bring to mind for each person here, what is the number one fear that's blocking us from hitting our goal this year? What's the lie? What's the doubt? What's the anxiety? And we're just going to be quiet for 30 seconds and note anything that comes to mind. What fear comes to mind? What thought comes to mind? We're going to jot it down. And I'm going to set a timer for us for the next 30 seconds. Just note anything that comes up for you. All right. In the last 30 seconds, God, we ask that you bring to mind for all of us, if that's the fear, if that's the lie, what's the truth? What do you want us to know about that thing? We're just going to be quiet for another 30 seconds. Listen and note anything that comes to mind. All right. Now, my challenge to you, I want at least 3 of you to do this before we move on. I want you to share in chat. Nashira, by the way, this isn't about religion. This is about Nashira. This is about what fear, what doubt, what anxiety is stopping you. Stop the lies we're believing and start believing the true things. Okay? So I don't care about religion at all. This is not the point here. The point is, what's the fear? Because just very practically, Nashira, I'm an extremely pragmatic person. If you have a bunch of lies you're believing, you're going to do dumb stuff. I do all the time. I'll share mine. The fear that hit me was that you have to move super fast in order to win. The truth was, the slower the better. You'll see more accurately with a slower pace. And I know that's a thing for me. When I move fast, I tend to do dumb things. It looks like I'm making progress, but always I'm overstriving, I'm holding it too tight, and it doesn't work as well. So what's that for you, Nashira? What is the fear? What's the doubt? What's the anxiety? What's the lie that's coming to mind for you? I invite you, put it in chat. And then what's true? If that's the lie, what's actually true? So I want at least 3 people to post it before we move on here. Gabriel, imposter syndrome. So the fear is, I don't have what it takes. The truth is what? What's the true thing? Lil, I'm too young and don't have the qualifications to charge people. Okay. What's true? Jenny, my fear need to keep up with things. Yasmin, big fear. I'll lose my house. I'll be exhausted and don't have enough of the energy. Art, fear. I'm too old and I'm running out of time. So the risk of failure is much higher. Good. All right. What's the true thing? What's true about that? I don't want to just hear the fear. I want to know the truth as well. Cody, what came up for you? Can't hear you. You're muted, big guy.
Love the mute button. Very specific one came up for me that I'm not going to find 2 more partners for March that I'm looking for. And the truth is, just send more pitches.
Ask more people.
Yep, ask more people.
Blossom, I'm disabled, so can't always be consistent in content creation, but there is always the top tip. Yeah, so everybody's posted a lot of fears. I haven't seen a single truth posted yet. So my fear is I need to go faster. I'm not going fast enough. The true thing was, the slower the better. The slower my pace is, the more accurate I see things. So what's that for you? Lil, I'm very young and unqualified. The truth is that it is harder, but still possible. Ooh, that's good. Yeah, possible. I would even say it's actually easier. Lil. Reus, the truth is someone wants this and I'll connect with those who want to focus and consistency. Yes. Yasmin, truth is there's only so much time and energy in the day. Yes. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, Blossom. I need more.
She was saying, I think she's saying like she is actually disabled. So that part is true. But the point is, yes, that's true. But how would you explain that, Brian?
Let me go back and read I'm disabled, so can't always be consistent in content creation. Oh, yeah. So maybe a lie is, Blossom, that you need content in order to win. You don't, by the way. You don't need content to win. You don't need content to hit your goals. That's good. Lil, how is it easier? Man, like you can use it to your advantage so well. One, I don't know how old you are with Lil or what your life situation is. And I do want to get to the keys of high tickets. So I'll mention this and we'll move on here. But you can take risk that people that are older just can't, or the pain if you lose is way higher. Also, the number of young people hustling is just low. So when the number of people that are older that want to help young people is extreme. And I don't think young people get this at all. I would give advantages and opportunities to people that are in their 20s or even late teens that I would never give to a 40-year-old. Just because it's cool to see a young person hustling and you don't see it all that often. So the advantages you can get and the risk levels you can take are just by definition way higher. Yeah, it's a big deal. I don't think that's said enough. Okay, let's go in now. Meat of the webinar. Fears cleared, goals set, clarity is our mission. Which path do we go? High ticket or low ticket? Okay, let's go to the 4 keys of high ticket offers. So I want to give you these keys. These are 4 keys. You put them in the ignition, you turn them, and your high ticket offer actually works. Okay, key number 1 is this. People with money are easier to sell to. But Brian, like everybody in my industry is cheap. No one would ever pay that much money. So challenge for you, way to think about this. That is mostly true. 90% of the people in your market, 90% of the people that have the problem you help with will not pay that much money. The good news is you don't need 90% of them to pay you money. You need 10 people this year to make 100 grand. You need 100 total humans this year to make $1 million. So every car company for 100 years in the United States went bankrupt until Tesla came along. And a lot of people think Tesla won because Elon's a super genius or he's a rich, annoying billionaire. It's none of that stuff at all. Like, sure, he's smart and that helps, but he also does lots of really stupid stuff too. But what was different about Tesla, they did not use the same business model, the same product model that every car company for 100 years used. Instead of using, have any of you ever heard of the Ascension business model? Put a yes in chat if you've heard of it before. The Ascension model. This is where in online sales, you start with a cheap product, a book or a PDF or a membership, and you sell them and then you upsell them and you upsell them and eventually get to the $50,000 mastermind. That is the single stupidest thing taught online. Most everything online works. This does not. This is incredibly complicated and incredibly complex. And it's why every new car company for 100 years went bankrupt. They tried to do this to sell cars. They would start with a cheap entry level car, then they would upsell, then upsell, and then upsell. And that is just really hard. It is really hard to get broke people to give you money. Tesla didn't do that. See, one of Tesla's very first customers was George Clooney. They started at the very top of the market with a Tesla Roadster that was a $200 car. And then they worked their way down market over time into cheaper and cheaper cars. See, they started with what's called the upside down business model, the dissension plan. They started at the top of the market, the very top of that tip up there, selling very expensive cars to the top of 1% of people that had money. They used that money with a Roadster to sell the Model X and the Model S. Again, still premium luxury cars, 100 grand plus for the car. And there's not many people up there, but there's tens of thousands of them. And they made a ton of money as a company. It took them nearly 2 decades to get to their low-end entry-level car. The Model S and the Model Y, that's the ones driving around everywhere. It took nearly 2 decades to get there because they did the descension model. They started high ticket at the top 1% of the market, top 10% of the market, and then went into the rest of the market. That's my encouragement to you. People with money are easy to sell to. When you focus on people that have the problem you solve, but also have money to pay premium price to solve it, the economic engine of your business actually runs. And when you try to sell a $50 thing to a bunch of broke people, it is way harder to do that than finding one person that actually has money and motivation and getting them to hire you. The reason for that is most people that are at the low end of the market, most people that do not have economic means to buy a high ticket offer, think with their pricing hat on. They're thinking about how much does it cost? Let me pay less. Just practically, they'll walk into Walmart to buy a blender and they're buying the $25 Cuisinart all day long because it's the cheapest there that'll do the job. Makes sense. But people with money don't think like that. They typically think with their investing hat on. Meaning, if I put $10 in, will I get $20 back out? If so, I want to put all the $10 bills I have in. I put money in stock, it returns. Let me put more money in the stock. Price Hat thinks if I put $10 in the stock, could I find a stock that's only a penny? Could I do that instead? That'd be less money, right? No. See, when you sell to people that have money, they're easier to sell to because they think with their investing hat on. That's why starting low ticket with a cheap membership or trying to sell sponsorships is just incredibly difficult. Instead, flip it. Do the opposite. Start at the top of the market and use the descension ladder to go down through the market over time. So key number 1 to selling high ticket is believing and understanding people with money are easier to sell to. It's why getting one $10,000 client was easier for me in the early stages when I only had a couple hundred email subscribers than trying to sell 4,000 copies of a $30 course because I'm trying to sell a whole bunch of things to a bunch of broke folks versus one copy of one thing to somebody that actually had money. Okay, Cody, before we go into key number 2, anything you want to add or underline to that?
Yeah, not only are they easier to sell to, but they tend to be easier to work with as well. You're just attracting a whole different kind of human. More often than not, people that are, if you're selling low ticket items, there's so many stories you can find on the internet of just like the constant refund requests and all kinds of high maintenance types often with lower ticket clients. Higher ticket clients just tend to be lower maintenance.
Yeah. Totally. Humans are humans. So even people with money can be high maintenance, but man, it's such a big difference. And just think practically, if you pay $20 for a thing, like I have a bookshelf over here on the side, tons of books. Guess how many of I actually have read? Not many. I don't know, 20%. That means 80% of the books on that shelf I've never even opened because I paid $10, $20 for the thing. I can tell you, of the things I've ever paid 10 grand for, I've used all of them completely. Just the more I pay, the more I pay attention. The more dollars I pay, the more attention I pay. All right, let's go to key number 2 of selling high ticket. Key number 2 is realizing, like you might be thinking, all right, Brian, I get that. I get how the descension ladder makes sense. Selling to people that have money is easier than selling to people that don't have money. That's just obvious. And I don't even need that many. So even if my market is cheap and doesn't do that, maybe. But nobody in my industry does that. I look around in my industry, like I work with a school teacher. She's one of my one-on-one coaching clients. She teaches people to read and teaches school teachers a particular methodology of teaching reading. She's selling to school teachers. School teachers do not make much money, if you wonder. Like the average income of a school teacher, I think, is below $45,000 a year. Not a lot, but she sells high ticket to them. Does anybody else in her industry do it? No, but let me show you why. Let me show you why it works so well. Even if you look around your industry and you're like, nobody does this. Everybody does sponsorships. Everybody sells memberships. Everybody does whatever. They sell t-shirts on the bottom footer of their thing. Also, almost no one else actually makes good money. Just heads up. Modeling what other people do because you think it works because it looks good is really bad business plan. So let me give you an example. I live in Nashville and I Googled cheapest hotel in Nashville and the Woodspring Suites in Rivergate came up. $58 a night. If you called up the manager of the Woodspring Suites, he would tell you they have 80% vacancies right now. There's plenty of rooms. He would also tell you things like, man, back 20 years ago, Nashville was way better. There was less hotels. There was less competition. It was easier to win. And now it's just all gone to crap. And he thinks he lives under the lie that if I lower my price, I'll attract more people. So he's lowered his price. He used to charge $120 a night. Now he charges $58 a night. And his business is worse. His profit is lower. His vacancies are higher. And he's annoyed at the whole business. And he has bad reviews. Meanwhile, 3 miles down the road is the Four Seasons. They charge nearly 10 times the price, $500 versus $50. If you call them up, same town, same manager, same market, 10 times the price, that manager would say, you know what? We're booked out 2 months. We can get you a hotel in April. Would that work for you? He would tell you things like, we just built this hotel 2 years ago and this market is amazing. We're crushing it. We got great reviews. We're booked out. Our vacancies are low and our profit's up. One of them, the Woodspring Suites, is under the lie that if I lower my price, I'll attract more people. The Four Seasons knows the truth that no matter what industry you're in, you want to first serve the top end of the market so your economic engine could be driven. You could actually make money. So later on, you can go down market with your more entry-level brands like the Model S and the Model Y and get more humans and help more people. Would you rather be the Woodsprings? I'm curious in chat right now. Would you rather be New Nashville? Yeah. Right, Yasmin. Also, the Four Seasons crushes and the Woodspring Suites doesn't. Would you rather be the Four Seasons of your industry or would you rather be the Woodspring Suites? Would you rather have no vacancies or would you rather be totally maxed out in your coaching? Max out. Which one would you be? Four Seasons, Woodspring Suites. Put in chat. Four Seasons to play. And so does the Woodspring Suites, by the way, Becca. A couple examples of this. Grant Baldwin, friend of mine. I'll give you some examples of not friends. He has a book. Charges $20 for it. $29. You can find him on Amazon called Successful Speaker. He helps speakers get booked and paid to speak. He also sells a high-end $10,000 coaching program. Same material as the book. One of them is do-it-yourself. One of them is a coached version done with you. He sells 10% of their revenue as a company is sold from the high-ticket coaching offer, not the book. They make money from the book. They make more than your average author from the book. 99% of the revenue is from the coaching program. They've decided to be Woodspring Suites, not the Four Seasons. Or they decided to be Four Seasons, not the Woodspring Suites. Another example, this is a client of ours, Michael. He does leadership coaching, focuses on C-level executives, communication, relationships, hiring stuff. He has a book, $15, low ticket offer. Many other leadership people we've worked with will charge $1,000, $2,000. Michael charges $15. He's decided to be the Four Seasons. Is this happening in your industry? Is there anybody else doing it? I'll tell you what, Marnie, she could charge $10 to teach a teacher how to teach their kids how to read. Or right now, she's charging $5,000 to be a personal coach to these teachers and these tutors so they can be world-class at doing their thing of helping kids read. Another example is Jeff. Jeff helps pet owners treat their pets holistically, like with not traditional vet medicine. So traditional vet would charge $100 an hour if you take your dog in or your cat into the vet. He charges $5,000. His cheap entry-level book, doesn't sell a lot of it, makes some money, a couple grand a month from it, but his high-ticket coaching, he absolutely crushes. Why? This happens in every industry. They've made the decision. They know they want to go a mile deep and an inch wide. They know they want to impact lives, and they know it is easier to generate revenue, drive the economic engine of the company from getting a handful of super high-ticket people versus trying to get thousands or tens of thousands of people to buy the low ticket thing they'll never use. Here's a couple of just cool industries we've done this in before that are kind of niche and weird. We worked with a lady who was a dating coach for widowed women over 50. Worked with another guy named Joe Slack. He taught people how to make board games. Another lady, she was a ballroom swing dancing coach. So this works no matter your industry, because the truth is you get to decide. Are you going to lower your price because you believe if you lower it, more people will come? Never works. And man, every client I work with has I was in a text conversation an hour ago with a very high profile client that needs to make up some sales this month. And what if we cut the price in half? I was like, all you're doing is becoming the Woodspring Suites. What if you doubled your price instead? What would happen then? Our highest ticket offer we have is $100,000 for the year. Almost every time someone hires us, they say, if you'd have charged less than that, I wouldn't have trusted you. Just think, you're a person with means. You make $250K a year, $500K a year. Would you even look at the Woodspring Suites? No. You see a $50 price point and don't even pay attention. You assume it means low quality. You assume it's a dump. You assume the rooms aren't going to be clean. You assume it's not going to be nice, practically. Forget the brands, $500 room, $50 room, which one's nicer? Obvious which one's nicer. You get to pick. It's not about the industry. It's about what do you want to do? Do you want to position yourself as the cheap person who sells to cheap people that are hard to buy? Or do you want to be the person that actually makes impact, has experience, and is nice? Which one? You get to decide. Your industry doesn't decide, you do. Because in every industry, there's the Woodspring Suites and the Four Seasons. All right, let's go to key number 3, and then I'll stop. And Cody, you can add in here. And by the way, if you have any questions, any challenges, any doubts, put them in chat. We'll answer them. Yeah, Blossom. What if people you serve don't have thousands to spend? That's the point. 90% of them don't. The key is you don't need many people. You need 10 people, 10 total humans to have $100,000, 100 total humans to make $1 million. You don't need as many people when you're selling high ticket. So most people can't afford it. So you're not going to start there. You're going to descend over time from ultra high ticket to medium ticket to low ticket as your business is profitable. The mistake most businesses make, online businesses that educate, is to try to start cheap. And that immediately demands they have gigantic distribution, which is very hard. It is way easier to start at the top and work your way down than to do the opposite. So if Marnie can sell $5,000 reading coaching to teachers, I don't care what industry you're in. Does not matter, because I've worked in most all of them. The key is knowing it's okay if most people can't afford it. I don't need most people. I need people with means and the problem to start. And let me get a year or two into that, generating lots of profit to fuel the business. And then I can work on my mid-ticket and low-ticket product after that. All right, I get all that. Doesn't matter the industry. I get to decide. I get how people with money are easier to sell to. I get how I don't even need that many people. I get it's okay if most people can't afford it. I don't need most people. I just need 10 people. But what's my high ticket offer? Like, how do I turn my experience? How do I turn my book, my membership, my course, my thing, just the transformation I went through personally? How do I make a high ticket offer that actually works and people would pay that much money for? So here's an acronym. TAP is an easy acronym to remember that'll guide you in turning your experience or your membership or your course or whatever you have or don't have into a high ticket product. So let me give you an analogy and I'll walk you through TAP. So think about the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl is free. You can watch it on TV and pay $0. Every human on earth can turn on their iPhone or stick the bunny ears up in the air and catch the Super Bowl. No money required, right? But 100,000 people every year pay at least $5,000 to go into the stadium and watch the game. Why? You could get it for free. Why are they paying $5,000 to get a ticket to go in? Anybody get an idea? We all think free or pay $5,000. Which would you choose? And what's the difference? It's the same. And actually, it's a little bit of a worse experience. Yeah. Okay. Jeannie put experience. Okay. Think about that. Actually, it's a worse game. You can't see near as much sitting in the stadium in the nosebleed sections for $5,000. Like to even get good seats, you got to pay $10,000. $10,000 to get in the seat to watch a free game? Like what in the world? And you can't even see all that well. And the replay doesn't show stuff all that well. Like what? Or think about the ultra high end of this. People that pay $1 million to get on the sideline or $2 million to be in the 50-yard line skybox at the Super Bowl. Like why? Why are you paying $2 million for something that's free? A TAP stands for training, access, and perks. Training is a commodity. You cannot charge $10,000 for a course. But if you just add a couple simple access and perks to your program, you can turn it from a low ticket cheap thing to an ultra high ticket Four Seasons thing. So I got a buddy, his name is Bob. He teaches personal finance. He has a book, Simple Money, Rich Life, or something like that. Seed Time is the name of their blog. And they have a $20 book. You can get it on Amazon. It's a great book. It's not high ticket. He can't sell that book for $10,000. But what if Bob said, hey man, I'm going to give you all of our training. I'll train you. And I'm going to actually set up your budget for you and audit your expenses once a week to give you coaching so that you spend the amount you decide you want to spend and actually save and hit your goal. And I guarantee you're going to retire a millionaire as a result of that. I just went from a simple book, the training, you added a couple access and perks, a done for you budget and weekly review of your expenses, and you went from dollars to 10 grand. Or what if us? Like, hey, I got 10 hours of video teaching. You can learn everything about BOPA and high ticket. Go check it out. $50, $100, $500, something like that is what we would charge for that. But what if we said, hey, for 10 grand, you can hire us. We'll personally train you. We'll have 4 live times we can coach you every day. You just show up at any of those times. We're there immediately to help you. You have 80 different live one-on-one coaching sessions a month, up to that if you want them. You can ping us at any time with any question or assignment. We'll answer you within an hour or two. And we'll build out your offer, your funnel, and find 40 partners a week that would gladly promote your lead magnet to their audience. I just went from some training that told me how to do some things to a couple perks that are like, okay, that sounds like the 50-yard line box at the Super Bowl, right? All we did was add a couple access and a couple perks to the training we already had. So here's the key. These are 3 of my favorite, there's a lot more than this, but here's my 3 favorite access and perks to add to the training to make it go from a low ticket book, a membership or course, to an ultra high ticket product. A personalized plan. When someone hires you, have a call with them, learn about their situation, and put together a little 1-page plan for them to go show them the path to go from where they're at. If you're a marriage coach, talk with a couple. Come back to them a week later and say, hey, based on our conversation and some deliberation, here's our plan over the next year to take you from a sucky marriage to an amazing marriage. A plan is an easy perk to add in that really jacks the price way up of what you can charge because the value is high. A done-for-you element for key pain points. So one of the main marketing models we teach is BOPA, borrowing other people's audiences, getting other people. Imagine you had a person with 10,000 subscribers and tomorrow they share your lead magnet with their list. Could you get clients from that in chat? I'm actually curious about this. If a list tomorrow that has 10,000 people on it shared your number 1 lead magnet with their list, how many high ticket clients do you think you could get? Put the number in chat. I'm curious because I'm going to teach you our marketing method here in just a second. 10,000 people, you get your lead magnet shared with it tomorrow. How many high ticket clients do you get out of that? 1, 2, 3, 10? What do you think? 10 to 15? 10 yet? I said that's $100 to $150,000. Becca, 30. That's $300,000 from one. So for us, every month we find 5 partners that would be very likely to agree to partner with you, draft the pitch to them and give them to you. We do the hard part for you, right? So the key here is to turn in your low ticket offer, or maybe just the experience you've had. Maybe you haven't even sold your thing before. That's fine. Jesus' table stakes was freely receive, freely you give. So all you have to do to be a coach is have gone through the transformation yourself. That's the table stakes. If you've done that, you can do it. So now you just need to take what you know, that's the training that you're going to tell them, and add a little access and a little perks to it to turn it to high ticket. That's all you need. 2 or 3 of those and you get a mega high ticket product. All right, last thing. Here we go. Key number 4. This is how you get high ticket clients. So cue in here. Anybody curious now? All right, Brian, I get all this, but can you show me the method? I can imagine having a high ticket offer. I'm going to give you all the template here in a minute with some examples so you can actually make your own. If you hire us, this is the first thing I do with you is personally help you make sure your offer is A+ world class. Because if that's on point, man, everything else is easier. But how do I get clients? Who has a question about how to actually land high ticket clients? Put a yes in chat if that's you, and I'll walk through the method. I want at least 2 people with a yes before we move on to method. All right, Olivia, Ash, good. Okay, make sure you're all tracking. I wish this webinar training software things, you could see everybody's faces. Gets weird just talking to a chat. That's why I bring Cody on. I like Cody, and also it's nice having other humans around. Okay, so when I first started online, the number 1 question I had was how do I get random people on the internet that don't know I exist to know I exist and hire me? And man, I tried all kind of crap, building lists, and I grew my list to a couple hundred after trying every stinking list building tactic I could find. It didn't get any traction. But as I would do it, I shared my different marketing experiments as I went. And one day a guy reached out to me and said, hey, I noticed you just crossed 100 subscribers. Can you come make a resource? And I'll share it with my list, showing them how you get 100 subscribers because I think they would like that. So I did. I put this little resource together, and now this person had a list of 50,000 people. And I'm like, I got a list of 100. You get a list of 50,000. Let's rock. I'll totally make a resource. You share it. I have to get lit. I have to get subscribers from that. So we did. The guy's name was Noah Kagan. The guide was called the How to Get Your First 100 Email Subscribers. He shared it with his list. And overnight, I added 1,000 email subscribers. 10x the list overnight. Not because I built a list, not because I produced a bunch of content, but because one person shared one of my resources with his list. Over the next couple months, we landed over $100,000 in sales from one person sharing one simple resource I made. So key number 4 to selling your high ticket offer is don't try to build your audience. Don't focus there. Instead, borrow other people's audience. Instead of your goal for the year being, let's have a gigantic list and let me focus on myself and all the content I produce and the people I can get. That's a hard game to play. You can win. It's a path. Every year the bar gets higher. But instead, I would propose to you a totally different marketing model. Instead of playing that game, play a different game that almost no one else is playing. Take one of your best resources that you have, that template, that swipe file, that example, that conversation guide, whatever it is for you that actually helps people get the result you help them with, and just find one each week. Find one person that has an audience, have them share the resource with you, and land one client as a result of it. That's what we do. That's what this is, by the way. beehiiv has an audience. We have an audience. This week, they came and taught our audience. This week, we come and teach their audience. And as a result, they find out about each other's. We get clients and our audiences grow as a result of it. The cool side effect of borrowing other people's audiences is yours grows too. Like when Noah shared my resource, I got 1,000 subscribers and $100,000 in sales. And I didn't have to produce a bunch of content. I didn't run ads. I didn't have to do all that crap. The key to, man, I so wish I could just install this belief down here for you because it's been such a game changer. The key to like understanding BOPA, which is short for borrow other people's audiences, is people with big lists are actively looking for you and your number one resource that you have right now.
Can I step in real quick and just say one thing? Sorry, I was waiting for a kind of a little breath in there. Just to reiterate, just like double click so hard on what you're saying. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. Like this principle cannot be overstated in how valuable it can be. And Brian just mentioned that we're using this strategy. This is like an example of that. The link I just dropped is our resources link where we keep all of our like lead magnets and downloadables. One of the things that kind of along these lines, very similar to that tactic that he just described with Noah Kagan, we do week in and week out is we have partners who run agencies who are basically serving newsletter operators. That's who their audience is. They're trying to find big lists and people that want their ad lists, their ad sales and stuff managed. So they're trying to get newsletter operators on to sell their services to. And our audiences are the same audiences, except these folks are like expert marketers. They know their craft. They've refined these offers. They're using these to build their businesses and to make money. And so we had the kind of realization that if we have the same target audience, but we're trying to sell basically different things to them, there's no conflict if we kind of share. And so in that way, what we do is with those links is you can see a whole list of different people, Nathan May, Matt McGarry, all these different people. We borrow their best performing assets that have been tried and tested and perform and run in ads. And we know for a fact are going to be very high performing. We put them on our website. We brand it with beehiiv in partnership with whoever. And we have a simple deal that when anyone signs up, the people who sign up are given fair consent. But anybody who signs up, we share those leads. Those leads, the people sign up, they get split. The email and the name and everything goes to a Google Doc that's shared with them. They can then set up a Zapier integration to pull those from the list and put it directly in their newsletter or whatever they're using to nurture leads. And so basically we are paying to grow their lists. And they're paying us back, or they're earning that trust by letting us use those assets. And it's been like, otherwise the alternative is like spending tens of thousands of dollars to run and try to test and write a lead magnet, write 5 lead magnets, figure out what works. So anyway, sorry, Brian, I sparingly jump in, but I just love this strategy so much. And it's been absolutely transformative for our business. And I'm almost hesitant to say it in case one of our competitors is on here, because it is so valuable. And I would say if you're a smaller or a newer creator, the challenge might be just like finding those people who you're willing to partner with. But I would say it's all about the message and the pitch. If you're willing to grow together, if you find someone of a similar size or of like a complementary industry, you don't have to be a big company. We're not a huge company. It's like you don't have to be super far into your journey to have a compelling offer here. For us, we're going to put ad budget behind promoting this, and you're just going to get free growth. In return, we get assets and we get a learning curve that's cut in half for us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Like when I started, I had 100 subscribers. Nobody knew who I was. Like nobody still knows really who I am, but like I had 100 subscribers just starting out. So the cool thing is when you match up borrowing other people's audiences with a high ticket offer, you don't need much volume. You need 10 total humans in the year to hit most of y'all's goals. 100 total humans to double everybody's highest goal you had. When you borrow audiences, you just don't need much at all. And it gives you people that actually trust you. Like the type of subscriber that comes from another person's audience is just so much warmer and so much more trust there. Okay, so here's the big idea. We're getting close to time, so I want to give y'all some resources to make sure we have time for Q. The big idea is this. High ticket coaching is the simplest way to monetize your newsletter. Like it just works well. You got 1,000 people in that newsletter. You for sure have 3 high ticket clients on it. That's 30K staring you in the face right now. And if you want to grow it to 1,500 by borrowing 2 other people's audiences over the next month, you have 3 more people staring you in the face as well. Like very doable with a small list. You just have to be smart about it. Work smarter, not harder. Do the descension model, not the ascension model. Okay, so I told you in the beginning, my goal for all of you was clarity. Like an invitation to consider high ticket versus low ticket. Consider having a product that genuinely transforms people's lives and you only need a handful of people to make a difference in your life versus low ticket where you get to build thousands and thousands of subscribers, sell sponsorships, or sell a low ticket product, which is what that entire newsletter industry track is on for the most part. So I'm curious at the end here, which one are you convicted of? Which way are you leaning at the end? Are you leaning in towards high ticket? If so, put leaning in chat. Or are you leaning out? And by the way, that's okay too. Open hand on all of this. You can do that route. And perhaps you've had clarity that like, that's interesting, but not now. Or perhaps you've had clarity like, oh, freaking no, for sure. Now I'm totally convicted of low ticket, which is cool too. I'd love to hear in chat either way though. Are you convicted of high? Or are you convicted of low? So Art said high ticket for sure. Eva, high ticket. 10 yet, high ticket all the way. Risk high. Who else? Let's get a couple more people here. Which way are you leaning? Which way are you being convicted of in the moment? Going towards low? Or going towards high? Barbara said high. It's worth trying. Good. Blossom. Will there be a webinar about low? Well, they might host one. I won't be hosting one, but they might do a low ticket. But Blossom, it sounds like you've had clarity that you for sure want to go low. And that's fantastic. Thanks for coming. I'm super glad you are now totally convicted of low. You might have come in as low. But thanks for engaging and asking questions. And I love that path is clear now. Yeah, that's really good. Becca, high, need to figure out the possibilities. Yeah, good. Okay, so my invitation to all of you, if you're leaning into high, my encouragement to you is, I'm going to give you a 3-step action guide now. And over the next 48 hours, go take a few steps down that path. Go walk down that path and see down what it looks like. And then you can decide if you want to keep going or not. Okay. So 3-step action guide for you. I'm going to give you 3 resources. Number 1 is a strategy session with our team. Like I want one of us to talk with you, to learn about your situation, to start creating your BOPA marketing plan for your high ticket offer. Let's figure out what your offer is. If you don't have one, let's figure out your exact BOPA marketing plan. What partners can you reach out to? What would you say? What's the timeline of getting new clients in the door? What's that look like? Let's make that for you. And the 2 resources, the 2 tools are, one of them is a high ticket offer template. So it'll give you a template to create your offer with, and 3 examples of other people's offers. So you can start getting an idea of how that would work. Because if you don't know what your offer is, the marketing method doesn't matter. And the second thing is the marketing method. So how are we going to get people to hire us? So I'm going to give you the how to get 10,000 other clients cheat sheet. This is a 3-step guide to our number 1 channel, BOPA, that I just gave you a preview of, for finding and enrolling high ticket clients. So you need 2 things to have a high ticket offer. You need a method to get them to hire you, and you need a thing for them to hire you for. What's my offer? What's my marketing method? So I'm going to give you tools that show you both of those things. Once you schedule, so when you go to this link, and Cody will put it in chat for us, go to beehiiv. When you go to that link, the first thing you'll do is schedule your strategy call. And then you'll get an email immediately with these 2 tools in it. So my encouragement to you, go tinker with the tools, try them out, look at the template, mess with it, brainstorm what yours would be. You don't have to decide. We'll help you with all that. Look at the examples. Let that just jog ideas for you. And then look at the cheat sheet. Start getting an idea of, okay, if I did that offer that I'm fuzzy on, but I'm starting to see it, how would I sell it? How would I get people to hire me? And that'll give you an idea of those 2 things. When you come to the strategy session, we can talk about all that. Talk about the offer, talk about the marketing model, talk about the next 12 months of like, all right, how big could I grow in that time? How fast do I want to grow? All that stuff. So you have an idea of installing a real high ticket business, high ticket offer into your existing newsletter and business. So to get all that, go to go.growthtools.com/beehiiv. All of it's free. We typically only do coaching calls and give these tools to our clients. We do a lot of that. All of our best tools and training go to them. But we're making this free for you today since you're here in Beehiiv hosting to get these resources and get a coaching session with us so you can check it out and maybe go further down that path if you won't. And what we do as a company, our company is called Growth Tools. We coach people on doing high ticket with BOPA. That's what we do all day, every day, create good offers, put together BOPA marketing systems, and land high ticket clients. So if at any point you want to do that, obviously we'll be around and you can talk with us about it. All right, we got 2 minutes left, which I talked too long, so that's my bad. Anybody got any doubts? Anybody got any questions? Anybody got anything coming up for them as we get to the end here about how this would work in your situation? Just put it in chat and we'll answer that for you. Cody, while we're waiting on anybody that might want to ask a question, any last parting thoughts from you as we wrap up here?
Yeah. One question I guess I'll answer that was asked earlier, I think it was by Blossom, isn't high ticket offer, isn't that just to focus on money? And I would come back and say, it depends on how you go about it. High ticket offer, I believe, is one of the most compassionate things you can do for somebody who actually wants transformation in their life. It's not about, I just want to make the most amount of money. It's truly about impact. Earning that much allows you the permission to block out more time and effort to put into that human. And they are also going to care a lot more about what you teach them and what you instruct them to do. They're actually going to have a transformation. You're going to feel amazing because you got to be part of it. No, it's not just about money.
Yeah, just like, how would you know that to be true? What's your success rate with the low ticket? Like, you bring in 1,000 people to a $20 course, $20 book. To get 10 people into a high ticket coaching product, 9 of the 10 people will be successful and reach a mega transformation over here. How many of the 1,000 people or the 100 people even open the book and read it? When you charge a little bit of money, I would make the argument that you're doing those people a disservice because they expect transformation, but they haven't paid enough attention or enough money to invest themselves a month to actually get it. Success rates, of course, I've sold many courses, thousands and thousands of decently priced courses. The completion rate, meaning the number of humans who even finished the last video, was below 10%. Our success rate in coaching is well above 50%. So it's the mile wide and inch deep versus inch wide and mile deep. Do you want transformation for your people or not? Your price point does directly dictate that because when they pay attention. EJ, thanks for hosting us, brother. Any last things you want to say as we end?
No, just to give you guys so much appreciation and gratitude for spending your time speaking to the folks here today. I'm sure they got so much out of it. We do have that past session that we did with you guys. If anybody wants to go a mile deep into BOPA, they can find that on our blog under the webinar section, but I'll drop the link to that section here in the chat so you can head over there. And then also just want to give appreciation to those of you who showed up today. We wouldn't do any of this without you guys showing up here today. It wouldn't really make, there wouldn't really be a point in it. A round of applause and pat on the back to everybody who stuck with us and showed up to invest in their business and invest in their future success. Your future self is going to really appreciate you being beehiiv customers. This one was obviously to our audience of users. If you're a beehiiv user, if you're a beehiiv customer, or anything in between, I always love to give the opportunity to say thank you for your business and your time. Yes, we will have a recording. It usually takes a few days to get edited down and cleaned up. So that'll be at that same link that I just shared, but you should get basically an email following up with that link as well. Multiple ways to figure out your way back to view that recording.
Love it. Thanks so much, EJ. Thanks everybody for coming. I appreciate you hanging out. We'll have to do it again on another topic here in the next few months.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll get something on the calendar. These have been hugely successful. So
Sweet.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day and good luck with that tooth, man. Get it taken a look.
10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Taken care of. All right. Have a great day. Thanks, Cody.